All right, so this is going to be episode 19.
Woo!
And we are recording today on July 24th, 2019.
And it'll be our last one at this location.
Yes, and then the next one will be me in Long Beach and you guys online, hopefully.
Yep.
I gotta fix that for you.
I have recording software for my PC.
I should be all right. It stops right here. I'm fine. It's good.
Maybe if you lift it and let it sag, or try not to do that.
Had a little bit of a. Yeah, it's fine. No, it's good.
Compensate. Sure.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm used to
You have to compensate.
Yeah.
It's because I had it all packed up and I had to reassemble everything.
That's cool and all.
All right. Let's start off with some horror-based news.
There's some good stuff. And some bad stuff.
It's a lot, actually, yeah.
Today, they officially announced It Chapter 2, rated R, just like the first one.
And that new trailer looks
Amazing.
Yeah, like I was creeped out by the trailer.
You know the thing that drives me to love it even more? They're taking right from the book. They have the scene at the end where they're in his dimension.
Yeah, I'm
so stoked.
I'm still holding out hopes that the ending's not exactly like the book.
Well, yeah, I mean, they can do it better, I'm sure, but we'll see what happens. By the way, just a reminder, that first It movie is still the number one rated, number one selling horror movie of all time. Oh. $326,989,000.
See, I thought it would have done more than that, though.
$326 million for a rated R horror movie.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
And rated R movie wise, Deadpool still takes the lead, but horror wise,
right?
This one is killed it.
Yeah,
horror doesn't do $326 million.
It was a great movie.
Yeah,
I mean, besides being a horror, it was just a really good movie too.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys follow Todd McFarlane at all.
Ish.
Okay, so they've been working on the reboot of Spawn. They got the new script written. They got a bunch of stuff, but they're running into financing issues. And he's talking now about possibly doing a Kickstarter to get fans to help fund the movie.
It seems like a lot of like the older like Kevin Smith is kind of like with his reboot is kind of doing like a smaller thing. The Rob Zombie 3 from Hell is also running it. I think
Rob Zombie's always been of the nature of doing his own thing to begin with. But what I think is happening is those creative minds are tired of movie companies pushing them around. Right. Because everyone says it can't be rated R. We need more money. We need more heads. Well, yeah. We need more people to be able to view it. And the artistic side is like, no, that's not. Spawn is rated R, period.
Right.
It's a horror, period. It's not going to be PG-13. It doesn't make sense. It's not going to be, what the fans want to see.
Right.
And if we get the same garbage we got last time, it's going to be garbage.
Yep.
So I'm hoping I would be willing to put some money into a Kickstarter to see a proper Spawn.
I would. I like Spawn.
Yeah. Lionsgate Films announced that they are rebooting Saw.
Yeah,
from the beginning
with Chris Rock, right?
Yep, starting with 2020, they're going to release the first new version of Saw in the fall of 2020.
And I saw Samuel L. Jackson is involved in the project.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty big. It sounds like they're putting a lot of money behind it, and they got some vision for this reboot.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of the franchise, and I mean, you get Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson involved, and it can't be bad, right?
Yeah, and it's one of those movies, one of those series of movies that really was pretty good, almost all the way through.
Yeah, they figured
but you know what happens, so that.
Well, I mean,
I guess you know what happens in all.
I'm assuming they're going to figure out a way to. Well, when Jigsaw came out, like I didn't know what it was, and we went to see it, and I'm sitting there like, I'm like, but he's dead.
Yeah,
he's dead.
Yeah,
and then the big twist at the end, and then my wife's like, "That's bullshit. I hate this." I was like, "No, that was actually pretty good because
exactly.
I didn't know what was going to happen there at the end. I was surprised by the twist.
Exactly.
So I mean, I think they got ways that they can make it work.
Yeah, actually didn't see Jigsaw yet.
No?
Nope.
Really?
Yeah.
I liked it.
It's
was
in my
all right.
queue, actually.
It was all right.
Well, as far as the series goes, it was probably the weakest
Of them all.
but
Yeah,
it
for
was
sure.
It was still entertaining.
Definitely.
I was entertained.
Definitely.
And I liked the way that they figured out a way to,
it was a
Make it work.
surprise. Yeah.
yeah.
I'll watch it.
It's worth watching.
Yeah.
It's definitely worth watching.
Especially if you like
you like the original, all the
Yeah.
other series, like 1 and 2 to me were like,
Yeah, and even
I
when
could
they
barely fucking. It was a new type of movie. When
Yeah.
the first one came out, it was like,
sure.
Yeah.
this is just pure snuff porn.
Well, yeah, and after the first one, it was like when they came out with the second, I'm like, wow, I didn't think that they would be able to do a second one.
Yeah.
And then they figured out a way to make like 6 really, really good sequels.
And it really came out to be like a real money farm for that.
Yeah. Well, I think that was when horror again kind of started to reemerge as like a box office draw because they were like, hey, people are actually paying to go see these movies.
Yeah, exactly. Comic-Con was going on.
There was a lot of stuff going on there.
So many great things came out of there, but one of the things that really kind of piqued my interest is obviously I'm a Marvel nerd. I love all the Marvel movies.
Yep.
But when Kevin Feige came out on stage and introduced the next Doctor Strange movie, the Multiverse of Madness, and the director came out and said, this is going to be the first frightening horror movie from Marvel.
Oh, nice. Sweet.
He says he wants to stick to the Doctor Strange, best known in the comic books, who doesn't fight villains on Earth. He's a multi-dimensional superhero, and there are terrifying dimensions. So the Multiverse of Madness is the name of the title, and it will also star the Scarlet Witch, which
nice.
to me is great. They say it's going to be, there is a TV series on Disney Plus that's going to be called WandaVision, right?
Yep.
Which will build up to this.
Oh, nice. I like how they're working that.
So then they're going to put her into the movie, which will be a build up. So the TV series will be a build up to that movie.
So that's what they're doing with the series, is right?
Right. And they're tying them all together. So they're going to really sell that service like mad.
I'm already hooked.
Yeah. First of all, the price is perfect.
Yeah.
That they've announced.
$5.99, you said, right?
It's $6.99.
$6.99 still.
But still, for that, and you get all the Marvel movies, all the Disney properties,
Star Wars,
and then all the new TV shows. So they get the Boba the Fett and all the Star Wars TV shows, all the Marvel TV shows coming out. I'm thrilled for this because Doctor Strange, and when he said Scarlet Witch, I'm like, Scarlet Witch has the crazy, crazy powers in the comic book. I hope that's where they bring it.
They kind of allude to that in Infinity War and Endgame. Like she's one of the most powerful of the heroes.
Right. So I'm excited for that. Today also released, actually yesterday, new trailer for Jacob's Ladder remake.
Oh.
And the trailer looks amazing.
I did not see that. I have to check it out.
Jacob's Ladder was a great movie.
It was interesting, yeah.
It blew my mind because of the twisty craziness of it.
Yeah.
But this one looks like it's going to be even better. I'm kind of thrilled to see this. And it's set to come out August 23rd, this August. So that's kind of nice.
No.
Also today in the news, Rutger Hauer.
Yeah.
75 years old.
He starred in quite a few horror movies.
Hobo with a Shotgun. Love that movie. Love that movie. That was late in his career.
I've seen
it. Was fucking great. It was a great movie.
He was in the original Hitcher, wasn't he?
He was in The Hitcher. He was in Blade Runner.
Yeah, Blade Runner.
Major role in Blade Runner, right?
Yeah.
And Wanted Dead or Alive, where at the end, Gene Simmons was a terrorist. He shoves that grenade in his mouth and pulls the pin and walks away.
I don't think I've seen it. I haven't
Wanted
seen
Dead or Alive is a great
check that one out.
film. But it's sad to see him go. But, he was 75 years old. He lived a rough life. He had some issues. When he did Hobo with a Shotgun, which was, probably about 10 years ago, right? I think it was almost 10 years ago. He was looking rough back then. So, but that's sad. It's a sad day. Yeah. Also announced at Comic-Con, Mahershala Ali.
Yeah, I saw
is
that.
Going to be the next Blade.
Oh, Wesley Snipes took it pretty good. I don't know if you saw his. It was either Twitter or Instagram. I guess a lot of people were like complaining, and because they thought Wesley Snipes should do it.
Well, the thing is, Snipes is old.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's going to have a role in the movie.
Oh, he is. He's still going to have a role. That's good.
They have to pay honor to Snipes because he really kicked ass.
And he handled it well too. His little shout out to Mahershala Ali. And I think that's a pretty good casting. I like him. Everything I've seen him in.
I don't know if you guys have seen Alita Battle Angel.
No, I haven't.
He's in that, and he's great in that.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
Blade, let's hope they keep that. The one thing Disney did say is not going to be R. In fact, someone in the audience yelled out R, and on stage, what's his name? Kevin Feige goes, "It's going to be PG-13, and you're going to like it," and that's it. Disney, it's Disney. But that's expected to come out in 2021.
I saw he also took over Deadpool, the team that was working on Deadpool's.
But we've got commitment from Bob Iger that it will remain rated R.
Okay, well, that's good.
Except when he appears in the Marvel universe,
he'll be toned down.
He will be not rated
and
R.
I'm sure that they'll play on that.
I'm sure of it. I'm sure he'll break the fourth wall making comments.
Yeah.
So. Zombieland Part 2, the poster is finally out.
Oh, yeah?
So we got some indication of where it's headed. That looks kind of good.
Yeah, I didn't see that either.
It's called Zombieland 2, and instead of the Earth on fire, it's like a number 2 with all kinds of chaos on it, and it says Double Tap. So that's the new movie,
Sweet.
Zombieland 2 Double Tap. Stranger Things. Now, I just killed season 3. Did you watch it?
Yes, everybody's.
Yep.
Fantastic.
It was my favorite.
And I was so excited that this should be the end.
Yeah.
Kill it on a high note. It's going to be perfect. And my daughter's like, why would they kill it? Because that's perfect. Like, you don't want to be that show that ends in a horrible way. Like, it's going to be like Seinfeld with the fucking dumb ending where they just kind of burn out. And no, we don't want it to burn out.
Yeah.
We want it to be on this high. This
and
great.
It was the best season, I thought.
It was phenomenal.
It was great. I really liked it.
They did a great mixture of both digital effects and practical effects that looked flawless.
And it was also a good blend of like comedy with actual horror and then like suspense. Like it was really good.
Loved it. And now they've announced Stranger Things season 4.
Well, I mean, by the end of it, they pretty much showed you that.
I thought they would just like leave it as a.
I thought it was supposed to only be 3 seasons.
That's what I thought.
That's
too.
what I thought.
But they just announced today it begins filming in fall.
Well, Netflix lost a lot of money last quarter. So.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
So
they're like,
this
is our only money maker.
Milk that cash cow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll watch it.
Yeah, it is what it is. Attack of the Killer Tomatoes is being rebooted.
What?
Yes.
Nice.
That will be out early next year. And they started filming it just about a month ago.
Is that going to be like Shudder or Netflix or something? Or is that
it's going to be on Shudder.
Shudder?
Yeah.
Hey, they've been putting some original content together.
Shudder has gotten additional funding from AMC and some other partners.
Oh, nice.
So, and from what I hear, and again, I didn't subscribe to Shudder. I really have to, even if for a short period of time, because I want to see
the
Creep Show
yeah,
series.
Me too. I was thinking the same thing.
Every review of it says it's awesome.
Yeah.
There's tons of like little Easter eggs for fans of the original movies in them. And I watched an interview with Tom Savini, and he was just raving, saying how great the new Creep Show series is. Greg Nicotero, of course, being the showrunner for that and the primary consultant for special effects. It's got to be good, right?
Yeah. Is that one of those ones that if you get like the first week free or like
you get I don't think it's a week. I think
not
it's
even
like
a week,
a couple. They go it by
like
number
3 days.
of hours or something like
so
that.
you could like just
so you can watch like 2 films and then it locks you out.
Son of a.
And then Tom Savini also showed off the fact that Greg Nicotero had the original Fluffy mask, the head from Fluffy. You know Fluffy he's the creature in the box.
In a crate.
Oh yeah,
in the crate.
Uh-huh.
His name is Fluffy. That's what they called him on stage. His official behind the scenes name is Fluffy because he was fully designed and created and thought of by Tom Savini. So anyway, Fluffy was in rough shape. Greg Nicotero had him fully restored and then put in a glass container and given to Tom Savini for his birthday.
Oh, that's awesome.
Tom Savini was showing it off on his Instagram video. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then it was like a happy birthday from Greg Nicotero because Greg actually worked under Tom Savini for a long time. So
that's pretty cool.
It was very cool. I don't know if you knew it or not. I didn't realize this. Tom Savini lives in Pennsylvania.
He's from Pittsburgh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
He has a school in Pittsburgh.
He has a school, and he lives right next to the school.
Okay.
I watched a guy on YouTube went to his house and got a tour of his house. the dude has like a basement filled with horror memorabilia. His attic is filled with horror memorabilia. His bedroom is filled with horror memorabilia. Like you ever watched the documentary of H.R. Giger?
No.
You got to watch the H.R. Giger documentary because here he is in this little house in Switzerland, stacked to the hilt with every bit of artwork he's ever done, whether it was sculptures, paintings, drawings. He's got books filled with drawings. He's got human skulls that he collected since he was a kid. He's got like just stacked with shit. And when he died, it was like, well, what do you do with all of it? Like they had to have like charity auctions and shit. And the same thing, I'm thinking like Tom Savini's house was full of so much shit.
Wow.
Where are they going to go with it when he dies?
Yeah. Collectors.
Yeah. I mean, and the stuff he had was amazing. He actually has...
think about how long he's been doing it, man.
Yeah, he has the original billboard from his childhood from the Invisible Man movie. The billboard that advertised it.
No.
Where the hell does he have that at?
In his attic. He has it in pieces reassembled on the wall. And his attic is small enough that he had to like come around the corners with the billboard. But he's like, I love that movie. I love the special effects. And I had to have it. And I got the billboard when I was in my 20s. I found someone who had the original. And he's like,
nice.
I'm like, holy crap, man. He has a great, like you could open a museum of his shit.
Oh.
He has tons of stuff, which was pretty awesome. And then one more thing from me, and then if you guys get anything, we'll go through it. I'm moving to Long Beach. In Long Beach, you have the world-famous Long Beach Arena, right? As the recording of Wasp Live in the Raw was recorded there. And Iron Maiden Live After Death was in Long Beach Arena in Long Beach, California. Big arena. And they built around the arena the Long Beach Convention Center, which hosts tons of conventions every year. But the one thing that it hosts that I only found out about last year was the world's largest horror memorabilia convention.
Oh, sweet.
It is called the Midsommar Scream, and it happens August 3rd to the 4th this year. It says they have expanded to take over the entire convention center this year. And it's the largest in the world officially this year.
Wow.
And this is the 5th year running. So I'm excited about that. I'm not going to be there in time for it because I'll be driving on my way there. But next year, I'm definitely going to go, and we'll have to do a report for the podcast.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
It's going to be awesome.
Might have to fly out there for that.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys want to come out during that, that'd be the prime time.
A year notice is probably enough to start planning.
There you go.
That'd be pretty sweet.
So that's something worth looking at. If you check it out, midsummerscream.org, they've got lots of videos and stuff and all that from what goes on there.
Wow.
It's a lot of cosplay, horror cosplay. There's memorabilia. There's like
props.
And like an amateur film fest, a horror film fest. So
sweet.
Nice.
I'm very excited about that. And then there's one other thing. Glenn Danzig. I thought I wrote it down, but I guess I didn't. Glenn Danzig made a horror movie called Verotic. And it's like an anthology, 3 short stories.
Huh.
He spent his own money, his own time writing, putting it together. It's based on 3 characters from the Verotic comic books. And he started doing small presentations of it at small theaters, starting in Los Angeles, San Francisco, and that surrounding area. All the reviews that I read in the LA Times and other local papers there in California have said Glenn Danzig inadvertently made the funniest horror movie of the year.
Geez.
Really?
Yeah.
The funniest.
Yeah.
I like funny horror.
Which I feel bad because they said when he did the original talk about it, it wasn't meant to be funny. But during the very first screening ever in LA, people laughed.
Oh, jeez.
A lot.
Well, hey, inadvertently, whatever.
But I think after the second screening where people still laughed, I think he's kind of adopted the idea of, all right, it's a comedy horror. But I don't think he intended it to be so. They just say that some of the scenes were so horribly filmed
that it's funny.
It's a funny.
It's kind of like
movie.
the original Evil Dead,
yes.
Like
yes.
the scene where the old lady's head is sticking up under from it's clearly like a piece of foam that's getting bashed with the.
Yes. It is bad.
Yeah.
But I'm eager to see it because, I like Glenn Danzig, and I loved some of his comic books during his Verotic run on. I think the company went out of business, but because he paid artists way too much. But they had like Devil Girl and like all those characters that were pretty cool. Death Adder, I think he had for a while. There was a bunch, but yeah. Any news from you guys?
No, you hit on the two that I had. Other than we didn't touch on the trailer for Three from Hell finally being out, did we?
No, we did not. The trailer makes it look pretty good, actually.
It does. I was the trailer makes me want to see it. But last we talked, he was having a hard time getting screens, right?
Yes, and he still is. So I forget. There was a thing on his website, and maybe I should look it up again, but he has a plan for trying to get some funding to rent theaters to put it in. So it may not be a main distribution movie. Again, you have that situation where if a company, it really does come down to capitalism, right?
Right.
If it's not mainstream and there's no real profit to be made, then no corporation is going to back it. You need to be able to show them that you can, take their investment and double, triple, or quadruple it.
Right.
When you've got blockbusters like Endgame or Infinity War making $2.7 billion, right? Or Endgame is finally taking the cup as the number one selling movie of all time. I didn't think they were going to beat Avatar.
Yeah. That re-release is kind of gimmicky, though, to push them over. I mean,
but they did it.
Yeah, I know.
They went over. It's pretty amazing.
I give them props, but it was kind of sketchy the way it was done.
Yeah, but they wanted to do it, and they did.
Yeah,
so,
they did.
When you got blockbusters like that, or we talked a little earlier about the $326 million from it.
Yeah.
Rob Zombie, what can we expect from him? 5-10 million? What did he make off of that shitty 31?
Yeah.
I think 31 only topped off at $13 million. He probably spent half that making the goddamn thing.
Yeah.
So no corporation's going to cough that up.
Yep.
Maybe you got to look into seeing like selling it to Shudder or something. I wonder
Yeah, it's very likely. I mean, because he's got a fan base.
Yeah.
You know there's going to be people that want to see it. Like us.
Yeah,
right?
I'll go see it.
You look at House of a Thousand Corpses,
Devil's Rejects,
and now this as a part 3 to that. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too.
The other two movies were not disappointments. His other movies were.
The Halloween remake.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah, that was
the second
pretty
one
good.
not so much, but the original was
yeah. But then, but you look at like the Lords of Salem.
Oh God, that was bad.
31. He just had flop after flop. But somewhere where
and those were all the last recent ones, so that's
right.
why.
Right.
But when you look at where he started with House of a Thousand Corpses, that was a home run.
Right.
And then Devil's Rejects again was another home run. So I'm eager to see 3 from Hell.
Yeah, me too.
And hopefully this is a bookend to that series because I don't know how much more he can milk out of it. And if he just beats a dead horse, it's not going to be any good.
Right. That was all I had.
All right, cool. Let's go with our top 5. So this month, the top 5 horror movie sequels. There's a whole lot of them out there.
There's some bad ones, but there are
some bad ones.
There are some good
ones, but let's pick out our top 5.
All right.
So we will start this time with Chris.
Okay.
They don't necessarily have to be the second one either. They
Nope.
be
No,
any
8,
sequel.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Because there are plenty of examples
Yeah.
where the 5th
Although-
or 6th one is
Although
great.
oddly enough, I think all mine are.
Yeah.
I think all mine are second ones. So, all right. So number 5 for me, I got The Conjuring 2.
Okay.
Yeah,
I really thought that was a really good.
That was the British.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 4, Saw 2. We just were talking about the Saw series, and
Excellent.
I thought, after the original Saw, I was like, how are they gonna come up with something different? And I was impressed by that. Number 3, speaking of Rob Zombie, The Devil's Rejects, also made my list of sequels.
It was a great sequel.
Yeah.
Yep.
Number 2, Aliens.
Yes.
Was I thought by far an amazing sequel.
And speaking of Avatar, James Cameron directed Aliens.
Yeah. And then number 1 is Evil Dead 2.
Okay.
Excellent.
Again, and we just kind of were talking about Evil Dead a little bit too, with the original kind of not really, I think, intending to be a comedy.
Yep.
But then they went with it, and the second one was just totally,
awesome,
great. So there's my list of sequels.
Wait until you hear all the similarities.
And I didn't have any honorable mentions.
Oh, really?
I thought of a couple, but I wanted to keep it short. So
it was tough for me, so I have some honorable mentions. All right, let me start with my number 5. Friday the 13th, Part 4, the final chapter.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
Fucking great.
That was
movie.
a good one. You're right.
That was really good. There's a lot of great ones. Like Part 2 was pretty good.
I mean, because it really expanded.
The final chapter,
that was a good one.
I loved it. It might have been my time in life where I was at with my friends, but we went to the theaters as friends and just had a ball watching that movie. It was awesome. We snuck into... It was United Artists here in Allentown by the Whitehall Mall.
By
the Remember that one?
Oh, no. Yeah.
Yep.
That was the one outside the Orange Julius...
No, this is the American Artist was the one where the Toys R Us is.
Oh, yeah.
The old Toys R Us and Babies R Us there, Guitar Center's there now.
Yep.
That was where the United Artists Theater was. Do you remember that?
That used to be an AMC
midnight
too,
movies.
Right?
Yeah, and they tore it down years ago and built that crap there.
Yep.
But we snuck into that theater. It was a late night showing of Final
they did
Chapter.
Rocky Horror there for...
And the wall.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's my number 5. My number 4, Dawn of the Dead.
Okay.
Also a good one.
Freaking great movie. It took the whole idea from Night of the Living Dead, colorized it, made it even more gruesome, took the whole idea of, if you think of the real metaphorical understanding of Night of the Living Dead about, society in general, and he took that and crammed it into a mall. That was perfect. Loved it. My number 3, Aliens.
Yep.
It was a great sequel to a great movie. My number 2, Night of the Living Dead, Part 3, Dream Warriors. It's a fantastic sequel.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Nightmare on Elm Street.
That was a good one.
Yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors.
You like the soundtrack.
The second one was shit.
I don't even acknowledge the second one. I don't even acknowledge
the second one was garbage. But then 3, they bring back Nancy.
Yeah.
And they just...
And then those kids that kind of like join forces. Yeah, that was a good one. It did have a good soundtrack.
Dawkins.
Yeah.
And my number 1 is Evil Dead 2.
Okay.
So I have a couple honorable mentions.
Yep.
One of them is Hellraiser 2 Hellbound.
Okay. That was really good.
Freaking great.
That one scene where like she carves that guy up on the mattress where, and then all of a sudden, that freaked me out.
That was such a great movie.
And then there's other Cenobites that show up, when he travels into the other realm.
Day of the Dead.
Is that
part of it's Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead.
That was the third one, right? I couldn't remember if
and The Devil's Rejects. Honorable mention.
All right. My number 5, I went with Scream 2.
Also,
Very good sequel.
I was going to put that on an honorable mention, and then I just skipped honorable mention altogether. That was a good sequel, and actually the third one was, the trilogy itself was pretty good.
Wes Craven, love him.
Yeah. Devil's Rejects was number 4.
Hey, nice.
Very good.
My number 3 was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, number 2.
The great thing about that, though, is they took a comedy aspect of it and kind of ran with it.
Yeah.
That had some great scenes in it. Chop Top. Of course,
Dennis Hopper was even. I mean, he was supposed
Dennis
to be
Hopper
badass.
was great there.
Yeah.
But he was a little funny.
But Chop Top,
Yeah,
you know who Chop Top is?
Yeah,
He's from the House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects, Three from Hell.
Whatever his name is. Yeah, I think we may have talked about that in like our first or second episode. I remember that.
Yeah, because I got his autograph. And he's famous mostly for being Chop Top.
Chop Top. I think he's great as whatever his name is in zombies films too.
Yeah.
Number 2, I went with Evil Dead 2.
Yep.
My number 1 was Insidious Chapter 2.
Really? Yeah, that's a good one too.
That is a good one.
Insidious is a great series.
That's the one with the Black Bride. That really creeped me out. And that was like the reason I picked it is because it was like I really, really anticipated part 2 because I liked the first one so much.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I really liked that. You know what? I don't know if I saw the second one.
Really?
I don't think so. I liked the first one, and I think the second one just it's one of those ones you want to watch and you just forget about.
Yeah. And in honorable mentions, I did the Conjuring 2, Halloween 3, It's my only.
I liked Halloween.
So
3.
many people love Halloween 3.
I liked it.
I just wasn't a
I
big
do.
fan.
I liked it. I mean, when you get over the fact that it had nothing to do with the originals,
well, that's the part that bothers me.
A standalone movie, I enjoyed it.
Well, because I went to the theater with my dad.
I know. Yeah, I guess
expecting to see Michael Myers.
It has Halloween, so it's got a sequel, but it's not really a sequel, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just not good.
And Silence of the Lambs, believe it or not.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Very good, very good. The funny thing about that is it took so many years to make that sequel.
Yeah.
Because the first one was what, 1980 or no? What year was the first one?
Yeah, it was 83 or 84, I think. Was it? Mindhunter, was that the original?
Was it Manhunter?
Manhunter. Yeah, Manhunter.
Yeah, so like from Manhunter to Silence of the Lambs, that's a long gap.
Actually, Red Dragon was really good too.
Yeah, that was too, and that was a pretty long gap too, right?
Yeah,
because it was. Didn't Silence of the Lambs come out like 91?
Yeah, it was early 90s,
and then Hannibal, I think, came out.
Oh yeah,
next, but that was also like a 3 or 4 year. But then Red Dragon was another.
Red Dragon in the theater? I thought that was just like released.
No,
to,
that was in the theaters.
Yeah, that had
Edward
theaters. Norton. Played the. Yeah.
All right.
Wow. Very good. A great list. Everyone had a great list, and so many things overlapping.
Yep,
as usual.
So this month we got 2 movies to talk about.
Right.
Because it's been so long since we recorded an episode, with everything going on with me moving and summer and everyone's busy. So we'll start off with the first movie we watched, which is Dead Don't Die.
I loved it. I wasn't familiar with the guy who did. I wasn't familiar with his work, but apparently it followed
it follows pretty much
his formula.
Yep.
But I thought it was great. Like it wasn't your typical
not at all
zombie horror. Yet it was the pacing was great. Exactly. The humor was dry.
What other movies did he do? Do you know anybody know off the top of their head?
I don't know off the top of my head, but there was one that I liked. And I can't remember the name of it. I have to look it up.
Yeah, I remember when we went to see it, I read some of the other stuff that he did, and it wasn't anything that I had seen before. But from what I read,
is it off the horror genre too? Or?
Yeah, no, it's all over the place.
Yeah. He the one that I'm thinking of is not a horror. It's not a horror movie. I'm looking it up because it starred some of the same people. That's the thing is he often used similar people. He's a lot like.
Tarantino does it.
Zombie does it. Yeah, Tarantino.
Wes Anderson.
Yeah.
Those guys that they find a crew of people they like, actors they think are great and can do any role, and then they just write these movies constantly for these actors.
Yeah, I thought Bill Murray and Adam Driver just played off each other like great.
Yep.
And they weren't afraid to, knock off famous people frequently.
Yeah, so Jim...
It's too new to do spoilers too, right? Or we'll do spoiler alerts.
We'll do spoiler alerts, but Jim Jarmusch is the guy's name, right?
Yeah.
And there was a movie...
You know what I was curious too? The graveyard. It looked like it was the graveyard from Night of the Living Dead. And I never looked it up. I wanted to look it up, see if it was
yeah.
Because it was out in Pittsburgh as well.
Oh, was it?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. That's where that took place.
So I'm curious. Maybe you can look it up if you have a real quick second, Sal.
Yeah.
If the graveyard. I wanted to. It was in the back of my mind, and then I went home and I didn't do it.
Yeah, it didn't get released at a lot of places. Remember, we only had like one choice of theater locally,
and there was like one window of time really that was any good too,
which is a bummer. But I assume it's one of those movies that'll have a cult following because. There was a lot of great one-liners in it.
Listen, it was very meta.
Yeah.
And there were so many moments where they broke the fourth wall.
Yeah.
And surprising moments near the end where they broke the fourth wall. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
It was very good, though. In fact, I liked it enough that I went out and I bought the soundtrack.
Wasn't it only one song?
The number one song that was on it was the
Dead Don't Die.
Dead Don't Die by Sturgill Simpson.
That was the entire.
Yes.
That was the entire soundtrack.
Is that all 10 tracks on the soundtrack, Sal?
No, it's not. This was the only song.
There was some other songs.
Right. This was the only song on the soundtrack.
Oh, so some of it's orchestral, right?
But most of it is orchestral. And then there's of course
You ask me, this whole thing's going to end badly. So what exactly do you mean, Ronnie?
Oh, don't know. Just a feeling, I guess. Strong feeling.
Oh, boy.
The thing that I loved about the movie is here, the characters in Pennsylvania, right?
Right.
They're near the big city of Pittsburgh, right? And they're all these like slow paced kind of, typical what you would think of is like, the Western Pennsylvania type people, right?
Yeah.
I just love the characters.
It was all
No,
just
he did a good job.
matter of fact,
Yeah.
the way they talked about stuff, and and there was a lot like that line right there. I think this is going to end badly. I think that's one of the running. There was a lot of like running like lines that were used over and over again. That being one of them.
Yes.
The only way to stop zombies is to kill the head, Hank. I know it's gruesome, but complete decapitation. Doesn't matter if you use a machete, steel wire, hedge clippers, whatever. Just as long as the spinal cord is severed, right? And the head has been cut off. Only way to kill the dead is to kill the head.
There you go. So, one of my favorite scenes too was at the end at the motel, and the guy's looking at the moon, going, "There's something not right with the moon here tonight." And then you hear the zombie behind him go, "Free HBO." He goes, "There's always free HBO," and he gets killed. It's just
That was the thing about the zombies. Whatever it was that they were like
doing in life
was whatever they were zombified in real life.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them walking around with their cell phones and
I think again, if you look at some of the movies that this director and writer has put together, it's a socio-political commentary of what is going on in the world around us. And I thought it was just freaking great. And the whole time, spoiler alert, let's get into spoiler alert.
Yeah.
So the whole time you're watching this movie and the Tilda Swinton character, you're like, something's not right about her.
That was bizarre.
There's something not right about her. And somehow I thought they were going to tie it into like she was going to be the savior of the day. She'd be like some alien that's like, I know what's going on here. And she takes out her sword and kills everybody. She gets a spaceship just comes and takes her off the fucking planet.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And they're just kind of like, what?
Well, you're right. She had the ability to like jack everybody up and save the world.
Yeah,
and
but
then
she
she's left.
They just
Peace out.
the spaceship came and took her, and that was it.
Yeah, and then it ends badly. Like it's
Just like you said, I got a feeling it was going to end badly.
It did. It ended badly.
Very badly.
Yeah.
But
There's no happy ending.
yeah, but it was great. It was really great, and especially the part where they broke the fourth wall, and they're sitting in the car, and he goes, "Tell me, you were talking about how things would end badly. What did you mean? Did you read the whole script?" He goes, "Yeah, I read the whole script." He goes, "I didn't even get the whole script. I only got my part."
That was great. It was a great movie. It's one of those ones I'll probably get when it comes out on digital.
Oh, definitely.
Because
It did not do that well, surprisingly. I think a lot of people expected that that it would be a horror movie, right? Everyone loves zombies to some degree.
Well, we went opening night, didn't we? And
Yeah.
There was, like,
There was hardly anybody there.
yeah, there was
quarter
like
of the
maybe
theater,
a dozen of us maybe in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was a horror. I mean, there was some blood and guts, and
Yeah.
but it wasn't your typical horror. And that's the thing with the horror genre. I mean, because so many things have been overdone. What are you gonna do, zombie?
Maybe the younger generation doesn't get Bill Murray either,
Yeah.
like we do. You know what I mean? You think
That's
We
true.
love Bill Murray.
That's
Oh, that's
true.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's
maybe
true.
it
And Selena Gomez isn't really much of a draw for the young people anymore.
Yeah.
and-
So
Well, that was funny too. They didn't show the. Remember, they didn't show the teens either when they were. They
Yeah.
just showed them.
dead.
Like,
Yeah.
They were dead. Just looking at Rotten Tomatoes, so the critics' consensus is 54%,
really,
and viewer consensus is 38%.
Yeah.
So it really did not do well.
I liked it. Screw them.
yeah,
Screw the viewers and the
Yeah.
critics.
And Tom Waits' character,
Yeah.
fucking awesome. I loved it. And the unfortunate thing, the only thing I didn't like about the movie is because the director had such little faith in his audience that he had to have Tom Waits explain everything at the end.
Yeah.
That kind of disappointed me.
Yeah,
I
he
think
should've
he
just
should have
let it
left
go.
that go.
Yeah, I
and if you didn't get it, you didn't get it.
Yeah.
I think I'd be willing to put money on the fact that that wasn't his idea. That the distributor
the studio made him put it in there.
said, "Look, people aren't going to understand what the fuck you're doing. you got to explain something. You can't just have everyone's dead at the end, right?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they spent that time to have Tom Waits fucking explain the concept of the movie and what was going on. That to me was a disappointment, because when I was walking out of there, it was a lot to process, but I understood the whole concept of what he was trying to get across. Right? I think the director did a great job at projecting his ideas and his thoughts to the audience in his film.
I thought so too.
I thought it was great.
Yeah, me too.
And it's unfortunate that most people didn't like it. And I think what it comes down to is, if you really want to you want to get picky about classifying this movie, it's not a zombie horror movie.
No, it's not.
Right? Because there was no blood.
But there was a little bit, wasn't there?
A little bit, but every zombie, it was dust.
And there was a political statement.
Right.
Most horror movies do.
Every time you kill a zombie, there was no blood, just dust.
That's true. That's true.
It was only humans when they were getting attacked that there was blood. So the zombies, when you slice the head off, it was just with black dust, and that was it. So I
thought it was a good take on zombies.
Yeah.
I really liked it.
Overall, for my view, out of 5 stars, I give it a 4.5.
I give it 4.
Yeah, I'll go 4 as well.
All right, we rounded to a 4. So that's our view. A 4 out of 5 stars for The Dead Don't Die.
Yeah, F the naysayers.
Exactly. It was a great movie. Okay, the second movie we have to review.
This one, another mind blower.
Right. So this movie has been called by Jordan Peele as
genre-defining.
A genre-defining film, yes.
And he's not wrong.
Midsommar.
He's not wrong. Yeah.
Again, we were just talking. I don't think it was a horror movie.
No, I don't think it was either. Here's the thing that I will say.
What
do you classify it as, though?
It's a cult fiction or something.
Yeah.
It's not really drama. I mean,
no. It's,
well, yeah, like that's why it defines it. It's its own film.
Right.
If you had to pigeonhole it into something, it's closest to horror just because of some of the stuff that happens in it.
Thrilling horror.
Yeah, I was going to say thriller because
psychological. I mean, there's definitely psychological. Psychological thriller.
Yeah.
For one thing, the director, which I can't remember his name, also directed.
Isn't it like Ari? Yeah, he also directed Hereditary.
Hereditary, right?
Yeah.
And it followed kind of that theme where you're led in one direction and suddenly it violently switches to another direction,
and then just totally blows your mind.
Yeah. And it both of them had a cult underlying story,
right? And family played a big part.
Family and mental illness, right?
Yeah,
and love, sort of.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. And in general, life cycle in general, because if you look at the nature,
I mean, when they started explaining the
nature of the cult and how so let's just put a spoiler here because I really want to go deep into some of the issues that happened.
Yeah,
some of the things they touched on.
Spoiler alert here. If you want to watch the movie, which I recommend you do, if you're interested in expanding your horror or whatever we want to call this, I'm telling you, genre defining. It's an interesting film. Yes. I liked it. So all right, so let's go back to the spoilers now.
So if you look at the way they dealt with the people getting old, and how they handled keeping the population kind of level,
right?
Because you had controlled breeding, right? Because you had people, this person's of age and they've gotten permission to breed with you, So there's this.
She's chosen you,
and when they talk about how they chose you, period blood in your drink, pubic hairs in your food, and then all of a sudden everyone's pouring lemonade and the dude's lemonade is darker than everyone else's
and a little more pink.
Yeah, we were like, oh shit,
that's not good. And then when he's eating the food that they were preparing, he's like, someone's pubes is in this food.
And she put something. Didn't she put something under his mattress too?
Yeah, what the fuck was it?
I forget.
That's right. It was like a doll or something.
Yeah.
She put a doll under his mattress.
Yeah. And they told him.
Oh, man.
And that was they're all kind of related in that cult. It's
she's gotten approval to breed and she's chosen you.
Yeah. And the guy she chose was one of the guys who came from. He was an outsider.
Yep. So they can mix the DNA a little better.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it is a fucked up movie.
Yeah,
it was fucked up. There were a lot of fucked
so
up
that
parts.
was one of the first scenes. Then when we were talking about the life cycle and the old people, that was one of the first scenes where it was the jump scene, like the scene from Hereditary when the girl gets her head fucking crushed.
Yes, and where you suddenly realize, oh shit,
something's weird.
Something very different is happening.
Slow build up,
here.
and you know because you're going to see this movie that at some point something weird is going to happen. But it had up until this point, other than tripping on some LSD when they first got there, and the girl seeing some weird shit. But that was just her weird acid trip kind of stuff. So they're all sitting at this big feast. And the feast is being thrown for the two oldest people. And I forget what they hit 72. Because it wasn't in like nines or something like that. Like it was all in like multiples of 9 or something like that. So they were the guests of honor at this feast. And everyone's, doing their congratulations. And it's like this big celebration of these two people. And then it just drops off a cliff. Literally. Drops off a fucking cliff.
It was, and the thing is, when they filmed that
Holy
scene,
shit.
It was so graphic. So graphic.
That made it hard. I mean,
So-
that was like nasty.
So
Yeah.
the old lady and the old man, who are husband and wife, they go up to the top of this hill together, and they're being like celebrated,
Yep.
and and you could tell in their faces that they're partially happy, but there's a little bit of dread there too. You could tell it.
Well, we got to start at the beginning. They started off with a meal.
Right, yeah.
Where they like these two people sitting at the head of the table. Nobody ate until they ate. Nobody did anything till they did.
Right.
There was this celebration. There were flowers. Everyone was dressed nice. And then it's like, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah.
Suddenly there's this crowd at the bottom of a cliff. And these two people are standing up at the top of the cliff.
Giant rock at the bottom of the cliff.
Yeah.
Person-sized giant rock. Yeah. And so I think the woman goes first, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And her face just hits the
that
rock, and
rock.
Oh,
her
man.
skull just explodes.
Yeah.
And she's pretty much dead on impact.
Oh, yeah.
The guy, however, he lands feet
He did
first.
a horrible jump.
He lands feet first and busts both his legs horribly. Bones sticking out like
One of his legs is like crooked.
But he's not dead.
No.
So
he's
then
writhing in pain.
They take the ceremonial
mallet.
They walk over. They take turns pounding this guy in the
Big giant wooden
face.
Yes. Yes.
Oh my god! And wow! And
in the meantime, the whole group of people witnessing this event are doing some ceremonial writhing in pain, sharing the emotional pain and
that's
anger.
right. Except for the outsiders, they're all horrified by what they
They're
just
like,
saw.
what the fuck just happened?
I think the one guy throws up, doesn't he? I think the one guy vomits.
One guy throws up, and the English
they're
couple,
calming them down too.
They're
like
leaving.
just-
They went
the
out.
English couple are like, this is
I'm
fucking crazy. I'm getting the hell out of here. You people are crazy. How could you let this happen? And then the cult leader that you find, the leader of them, kind of steps up and says, no. They did this of their own voluntary thing. This is part of our understanding of the celebration of life. Why die old?
Right, when you can choose.
Decay, when you can choose your time to go, when you can make space for new life at your own will.
I'm just thinking maybe some poison or something that
Not jumping off a fucking cliff. And it's like, and the other thing I'm thinking is like, the woman obviously said, I've seen this happen a bunch of times. I want my face to hit that corner.
I'm going head
Right.
first.
And then the dude, for whatever fucking reason, when I saw him jump, I'm like, no.
He did like a pencil.
Yeah, like feet first? What are you, fucking stupid?
Yeah.
If you want to die, you need to go head first.
And it pretty much just goes downhill from there.
It goes wildly crazy from
So then the English people who wanted to leave, the guy disappears, and they keep telling the girl that he left.
He left without her.
He took the one goat cart out of there that shows up daily. But don't worry, he'll come back and pick her up tomorrow.
Yeah, he said he'll send it back for you.
And she's like,
No, he would
have
never
done that.
do that. What the?
Yeah,
and
we find him later on in the film.
Yeah.
And then she disappears, and then there's the next guy who's like the horn dog, and he's just there to try to like
Bang everything.
bang all the chicks.
Yeah.
And they don't take too kindly to that either.
Well, because then he goes and he pisses on their ceremonial tree.
That's right, where all the ashes of their
Right.
elders are like burned at.
Yeah. So after they kill their elders, they burn them, and then they have this dead fallen tree. That's, I guess, is symbolic of their tree of life, and they put the dead people's ashes around this tree. Meanwhile, this guy walks up and he's taking a piss on it, and one dude freaks the fuck out. You're pissing on our ancestors.
He's like, "What's the big deal, man?
It's just a tree, man."
So he ends up disappearing
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
And he shows up again later on. Was he? He wasn't the guy that they had like butterflied, was he? That was the other guy.
That was the
No.
British, no
The guy who was writing the history of their thing.
That's the guy that had butterfly.
And went in and took pictures of their sacred texts after they told him not to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was the only thing I didn't understand. So everybody that they killed, except for the British people, did something wrong. Did something to disrespect their norms of that society.
Yeah.
Those British people, all they wanted to do was leave. I mean, they talk shit on it, but that was an obvious reaction.
I'm pretty sure that the plan was to not let anybody leave.
Well, it seemed like that at the end. Then.
It's very weird because when you start the movie out, it's a film.
They had the purpose too, because at the very end you had to have so many
Queen.
people.
You had the festival
Queen.
Spring Queen or whatever she was called.
Yeah.
And then the people that brought in outsiders got rewarded.
Yes.
One of the guys got rewarded by being burned alive in the fucking building.
And he loved it.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's like, yay, I get to get burned alive. But the thing is, when the movie starts out, you have no clue of all this, right? It starts out as mental illness. A girl, her sister has bipolar disorder or something of the sort.
Yeah.
The girl is way away from home. The sister lives with mom and dad. She alludes to through a text message that she's ready to kill herself and take mom and dad with her. And the girl, trying to seek comfort, calls her boyfriend, and he's like, "Nah, she does this all the time. It's gonna be okay." And meanwhile, you find out that the boyfriend is with his friends, and they're saying, "Dude, you got to dump this chick."
Playing video games and smoking joints and
she's not worth it. She's crazy. Her family's crazy. Everyone's crazy. And then it turns out her sister does kill her parents.
Yeah, but one of his friends that's in that group is the guy who takes them to his village. He's from the cult.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's one of their college buddies that they're and they're gonna go on a road trip and he's gonna show them what it's like.
It's a lot like all I could think about during this was here in Pennsylvania, the Amish.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
how they have that Rumstuka
Yeah.
where you get, as a teenager, you reach an age, they send you out into the world.
To live life.
And then if you don't come back, you're a horrible sinner. But if you come back, you realize the curse of the sin of the world and you're back into the Amish.
Right.
And it was a similar thing where at a certain age, the people of this cult, which, by the way, the cult is in, like, Norway. Is that
Or
what we
Sweden.
understood? Sweden.
Yeah, Sweden.
There you go.
I think it's Sweden.
So in Sweden, they send the people in this cult out at a certain age and to bring back DNA, people to intermingle their DNA with the outside world.
Yep.
And also apparently...
So they don't all end up like that one kid.
Right. Well, and
The prophet.
well, that's the thing. Whatever child is born mentally ill is the prophet and gets to write their holy sacred text.
Scribble, you mean?
And the thing is, like, you look at the textbooks and they're showing it, it's like all writing, and a lot of it was like crazy shit.
Yeah.
But then you get to this point where it's all finger paint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the latest prophet who's like totally whacked crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's the prophet because he
Yep.
was the one born retarded. Yeah, it was a crazy film, but interesting.
Yeah, and then
It kept my attention. I never felt like, well, this is going on.
and
way
it was
too
a long film. It was close
Over
to 3
2
hours, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it was well over 2 hours.
It was 2:15, I think.
Yeah. Let me look and see if it's on the.
But yeah, we won't, I guess, spoil the ending. I mean,
Yeah, no, let's not spoil it.
It's still in theaters.
We did some spoilers, but I don't think let's leave the ending the way it is because it's definitely the end kind of.
Oh yeah,
Even after all we've said, the end
Yeah.
kind of still.
2 hours and 15 minutes.
and we didn't talk about. We won't talk about that either.
The sex
Oh,
scene.
yeah.
'Cause that's like.
Jesus.
Oh,
that's-
and
that's like shock.
I
too,
I
right
think
here.
I shared it on the
actually
the web
laughed. I
page.
think everybody laughed.
They're gonna release an extended director's cut with like 30 more minutes.
Wow.
Holy shit.
And I think it's supposed to be more graphic.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
Well, let's
You
let's
mean
just say
that?
what. Let's take a
I
look
think
at.
so. Yeah, I think so.
Let's take a look at Rotten
Or
Tomatoes.
should I say?
Rotten Tomatoes critics give it a fresh rating of 82%,
Wow.
Okay, all right.
and audience gives it a 61%.
So that was pretty.
Yeah.
I think when Hereditary originally came out, the fans didn't like it as much as the critics
critics,
did.
right.
Yeah, critics like raved
And
about
really, it's because this director, his name is Ari Aster.
Yeah, I knew it was Ari something. I couldn't remember the last name.
really has done quite a job. If you take a look at Hereditary, that got 89%.
it. Wow.
Midsommar got 82. It's very good. and his themes are consistent. Mental illness. He talks about it in the interviews where like mental illness shaped his life because of his parents, like his mother and whatnot. And that's how he wrote these stories. And these are the only 2 films he's ever made.
I would definitely go to see a third one.
Sure.
And these 2 are, although the themes are the same, they're totally different in just
in the way they're executed.
how his story is told. You know. So I would definitely go see a third one.
It was good enough that you kind of get some anxiety in certain scenes. You're like, holy shit! You got a feeling bad shit's about to happen.
Yep.
Oh my god, why the fuck is this guy doing that?
Even the acid trippy scene that gave me anxiety.
You know what also gave me anxiety? Those fucking crying kids.
Oh,
yeah.
The room that they made them stay in was like the nursery.
Yeah.
And the kid was crying every time you're in there.
Yeah.
That kid was just crying.
Yeah.
And that really gave me anxiety.
Yes.
Like I was like, would somebody take care of that kid or something?
Yes.
Like it just was. But
that and when the guy snuck into the temple, I was like, what the fuck is he doing? He's taking fucking pictures, and that was not good.
Yeah.
And then the kid that was like there to just bang everybody. Someone was wearing his skin face.
Oh yeah,
when
I
he
forgot
came
about
into that theater, and he's calling him by name.
I forgot about
but
that.
It's not that dude. It's someone wearing his face.
Oh yeah,
that was fucked up.
Totally forgot about that. Yeah, I was like, holy shit, that's his face.
Yeah, yeah. Somebody was wearing his face, which was not good. And again, we saw that at the end because when they finally sacrificed, it's weird. At the end, they had this ceremonial thing,
and they had to choose.
Right, but that dude, his face showed up there again. So that was very interesting.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, for me, 4 out of 5 stars.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it 4.
It.
I'm gonna give it 4 too.
Yeah, 4.
I don't know that I would buy it.
No,
I would definitely watch it again.
I'll definitely watch it again. I don't think my wife or daughter would appreciate it.
No,
they didn't really care for Hereditary.
It's messed up. It's a messed up movie.
Yeah, and like you said,
they do show ding dongs though. They might like.
They show a lot of
genitalia.
Dick.
Yeah.
And
I almost felt like I was watching HBO.
Yep.
They do show some bush and some boobies and a lot of butts
and ding dongs.
Yep, a lot of ding dongs.
Yeah, the one dick is swanging. Like he sprints out. He sprints out of there. And
sprints out of there holding his dick. Yeah,
well, that was the
perv.
That was one of the things I did not understand because he gets up and runs out mid-coitus.
Yes.
And he does not look like he was running out of there mid-coitus, if you know what I mean.
He wasn't at attention.
Yes. Yeah. And then that girl that he was banging, like she was, I can feel the baby.
Dude, that was so freaky. Let's not get into that because that scene was there was so much weird about that scene. Like I love good sex scenes in movies.
That
and this was not a good sex scene.
That was not a good sex scene.
If you want to,
and you want to say she was like 14 or
I don't need to say.
I mean, they don't tell you.
She was of age. She was of age. That's all we know.
Yeah, but they don't tell you.
According to their religion, she was of age.
Well,
she had her period blood in his drink. She's of age. So we unanimously agree it is a 4-star movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
So people should go see it. Now, let's not set your expectations too high because you need to understand that it's
not a horror.
It's not a horror movie. It's a disturbing.
Disturbing.
Yes.
It's a disturbing film with horror aspects.
Psychological, I would say, definitely.
The trippy scenes where they were all on acid and like the picture was like fucking wavy and stuff.
Or even later when she's sitting there at the table, still kind of tripping.
Yeah.
You just see a flower.
Like
the flower, like
it was
breathing.
It was like breathing.
Did that flower just
breathe?
They were like breathing. The flowers were like breathing around.
Yeah, it was, and it was just sporadically. So you had to pay attention.
Yeah, you weren't sure. Like, am I fucking tripping? Is this movie making me trip, or are they tripping?
Yeah,
but yeah. It was a good movie. So we don't want to set your expectations too high. We did give it 4 stars, but
if you're into
go
trying new
into
shit,
the film with an open mind, saying this is a new genre. This guy has defined something new in the realm of horror and psychological terror.
Yeah,
that you will be thoroughly entertained by it,
and you'll leave scratching your head for a while and trying to make sense of what you just saw.
There's a whole lot to unpack there. Because there's so many little stories that go on in the mix, whether it's the boyfriend and the girlfriend dealing with the death of her parents and sister, the people that came along, the kid that just wanted to get laid,
the boyfriend deciding whether he wants a piece of the girl who put the pubes in his food,
right, or if he should be trying to be faithful to the girl that's with him. Yeah. He's trying to get his fucking college done with. He wants to write a story about the cult, but he's competing with his friend.
That plays to the end of the movie too.
Yeah.
So
very, very end.
There's a whole lot of twists twists. There's a whole lot of little sub stories going on, but overall the film was good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, excellent. Thank you guys,
Yep.
and see you guys next month.
Peace out.
Okay.
Woo.